I usually got pickup lines, but for you, I don't know. You're just beautiful. Yeah, what's your name? Huh? She good. What you mean she good? Said she fucking good, nigga. What the fuck you mean? You not speaking English? Try to get nigga.
Loser boy. Loser boy. I've seen people in the comments talking about that. That's how you play defense, right? Having to play defense implies that your girl is in the game. Having to play defense implies that your girl is in the game. Now, why is your girl in the game in the first place? Here's the thing, bro. You will never see me do that. Ever. Ever. First of all, Shorty was going. That's off rip. She was going. Two, only way I'm stepping in for my girl if a dude approaches her is if she's already turned him down and he won't leave. Then I'll step in. I'll give you an example of this, right? I remember I was dating this girl at the gym. She was bad. She was bad. And I'm working out and this dude's working out with my homie, and it's my homie's friend or acquaintance, something like that, right? And we all working out or whatever. He points out my girl and he's like, damn, that girl over there bad, right? I look and it's my girl and I'm like, yeah, she bad. Homie peeped that I'm not gonna say nothing, you know. If he wanna go talk to her, he can go talk to her. Man, she bounced like, bro, go talk to her. Anyway, fast forward, my homie ends up letting him know that that's my girl, right? So my bad, I'm like, bro, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could think she bad. You can even go talk to her. I won't stop you. I will not stop you. The only way I'm gonna stop you from talking to my girl is if she tells you no and you keep going. That is her job to turn you away, not mine. That is her job to turn you away. I look like an absolute loser trying to see a dude walk up to my girl trying to talk to her. I'm like, hey, bro, don't talk to her. She good. What? That's her job.
And it's also a red flag when they openly say they want you to fight for them. Like, of course, you should protect your woman and fight for her, but what I'm saying is if she has to make it a point or bring it up in conversation, that is a red flag because your girl shouldn't want you to fight. Yes, she wants you to be her protector, but she doesn't want you fighting. Because believe it or not, there are women out there who just enjoy watching a man fight for them. So when they get in a relationship, they will purposely create altercations or situations where their man will have to defend them. And sometimes that man loses his life, and then she's on to the next. But if you have to actively play defense just to keep your girl from going with another guy, just leave her, bro, because she is not worth it. Remember this, fellas. When a girl is obsessed and admires you and respects you, she sees no one else but you. And you'll know if she respects and admires you based on what she says, how she treats you, the things she do for you without you even having to ask. Because it's in their nature. They want to take care of the man that they respect, admire, and love.
And since a man can't make one, he has no right to tell a woman when and where to.
All right, touche. We can do it that way. But using that logic, I have made a list of my own and I would like to share that. Coming in at number 1, we have no female is allowed to have an opinion or be outspoken on any military matter because their name is not entered into the draft. Using that logic, you said that is very true. Number 2, we have anyone who is currently living cannot have a view or be outspoken about slavery because you were never a slave, therefore you can't have an opinion about it. Number 3, only addicts or people that are using drugs can have an opinion on drug laws because if you're not using drugs, you cannot have an opinion about it. Number 4, only victims of murder can oppose murder because if no one's ever tried to murder you, you cannot have an opinion on murder laws. Number 5, we have only people who own guns can have an opinion on gun laws because as you know, if you don't own a gun, you're not allowed to have an opinion on it using that logic right there. And coming in at the rear, we have only people who have been physically abused can speak out against abuse. Obviously, if you've never been abused, you're not allowed to have an opinion on if abuse is right or wrong using that logic. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? It's not about whether you're a male or female that gets to decide the morality of something, and men can absolutely have opinions on morality topics.
Fuck that, we can have an opinion on any topic. 1, because we're the ones who built society, so we have the say in everything. And 2, men are the beings only second to God. God said it himself. The girl in the first part of her clip was even listening to a song made by a guy. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, if you have a problem with what men say or do in a society that men built, then get the fuck out. Go get your own land, make your own country. Now that reality would suck because we do want women here, but the ones with attitudes, the ones who are ugly, and the ones who really hate men, y'all can leave. That would actually leave us with like 10 women. Fuck. Ryan said, but as a guy, if I support the right to choose abortion, they'll welcome my opinion with open arms and accept my opinion. Yeah, they only care about a man's opinion if it fits their narrative. Saying men can't have an opinion on abortion is like saying atheists can't have an opinion on religion. A lot of women forget that it takes 2 to tango, but a man does make one. A woman is not making a baby on her own. Well, what do you know? You learn something new every day.
Okay, so this woman just told men that they have inherent value, so let me just show you.
I told men that they are born with inherent value, and they fought tooth and nail to convince myself and everyone else that they are worthless. Like every single woman backed up, yes, men are born with inherent value, which really just shows you that it's not women who hate you. It's not the feminists who hate you. It's you. I never in my life thought I would have to debate with someone to tell them that they are born with value.
I have. It was with clients whose life and circumstances had made them feel like they had no value. When people tell you at a group level how they feel, before you try to correct it, try to understand it. Men don't typically feel like they have value because by and large in society, for a male to be viewed as valuable or worthwhile, it is fundamentally tied to his wallet, to his GDP output. And before you say, but that's just the system men made. Rich men, not poor men, not most men, and not the men alive today. I'm a feminist, which is why as a feminist, I can understand that there are intersectional ways in which society disempowers men. A lot of men don't hate themselves. A lot of men feel like there's no space in society for them. They feel hated by society. Particularly if we are talking about poor men, men of color, or men with neurodivergence.
All humans are born with inherent value, men and women. The value that men are talking about, and sometimes they conflate with each other, is societal value. What is your value to the people around you, your society? Because you gotta remember this law. What isn't earned isn't respected. So because all humans were born with the same inherent value that they didn't have to earn, nobody respects that. Because inherent value just means that when people walk by you and they see you, they don't look at you and be like, ew, or what is that? Why is this here? You're simply seen as just another one of their species and then just moves on. Societal value is the one that matters because that is the one that you have to earn. How many lives have you impacted and how deeply? Most men can count that number of people on one hand. This value is the one that makes people want to engage with you, open new opportunities and experiences. This is why men don't feel like they have any value, because they don't. They have no societal value. They've not impacted anyone's lives. Because where impact appears, money follows, and a lot of niggas are broke.
So society tells men they're privileged, right? Like the world is rigged for them. But then you look at the stats and it's like 93% of workplace deaths, men. 80% of homeless people, men. 75% of suicides, also men. And I'm sitting here like, if that's privilege, that's a crazy trade-off.
Submission isn't for weak women. Weak women can't submit because they think submission is weakness. The irony is, you think submission is only something you're being asked to do. Meanwhile, your husband, partner submits to you every single day in so many ways. You control access to intimacy, not him. You decide when it happens and when it doesn't. You decide on the decor of the home, what the family eats, the routine, the values, the standard of the entire home. He's living in a world that you designed. That's submission. You want Mexican food, but he wants a steak. Guess what he's eating? Yeah, exactly. You want to spend time with your family for the holiday? He wants to stay home. Guess where he's going? Exactly. Men submit to women all day long. The only difference is nobody calls it submission when they're doing it. That's why so many women misinterpret submission, because you notice every compromise you're making, but you rarely notice the compromises being made for you. And that's why when your husband or your partner asks you to submit to their leadership, it should be an easy yes. A woman who understands her position doesn't fight submission because she knows her value and she understands her influence. So submission stops feeling like a threat the moment you realize you've been on the receiving end this entire time.
She was right about everything. However, on paper, yeah, she's the one who controls intimacy. But when you get married to your man, your body is no longer yours. It belongs to your husband. And we live in weird times now where if I say that, that sounds very misogynistic and very controlling or whatever. But back then, women didn't mind this at all. Why? Because when women would get married, they would be getting married to the man that they loved, admired, and respected, and they had no problem giving their man access to their body whenever he wanted because they wanted it all the time. Not generally, but with their man because they love and respected him that much. So it's really men who control intimacy. The whole modern duties is just extremely flawed because now when you give women the control over sex, they never give it out. Why? Because they don't respect and admire their man like they used to, thanks to the modern expectations of gender roles in relationships. And now you got women posting on the internet making jokes about it. Like, unfortunately, these are the kind of things that happen when you give women leadership over anything. So yeah, on paper, women do have the control over the intimacy. But how it's been since up until recent times, men were really the ones who had the control.
So I made a video yesterday where I was saying how I can't hate men because I had a really good father. And I got a response that I found to be very interesting. She said, "Good for you. Thank your mother also because your mother chose a good man. That also means your mother is not a crappy person, but let's sympathize and empathize with people who aren't fortunate enough to have what you have." And see, this be my problem, because if I was to do a video about how much I love women, appreciate my womanhood because I had a great mother, there would not be a single woman in the history of womandom who would comment on my video and say, "What about your father? You should thank your father. You didn't get here without your father. Your mother couldn't have had you if it wasn't for your father. Your father had to choose a good woman. Why aren't you thanking your father? Let's empathize for the people who didn't have a good father." You would never say that. You would quite literally never, ever, ever say that. You would never come to defense of your father. Why is that? Why is that? And that's the problem with so many of you projecting in our comments. I should be able to make a video about men and fathers and how impactful a good father is to a woman, how impactful good fathers are to us without one of you. Well, what about your mom? What about her? This video isn't about her. I love my mom. I have two of them. I have great moms, but this isn't about her. Why do you have to? Anytime a man is getting any type of respect, anytime fathers are getting any type of shout out for being so amazing and valuable in our lives, y'all have to come with that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I understand that there are a lot of people who did not have good fathers in their lives. That is not lost on me. That is not lost on me. But I don't have a dad anymore. And the more I reflect on how much of an impact he has had in my life, I want to make videos because I want to talk to other people who have good fathers or who have had good fathers and their fathers are no longer in their lives. I can't do that without having to bring up my mother. No, what that is some of you are projecting because you didn't have a good father. You didn't have a good man in your life and you're angry at everybody. So the thought or the idea of a woman getting on here and saying that she doesn't hate an entire gender because she had a great father in her life, that does something to your spirit. And baby, I am so sorry that so many of you did not get to experience that. That is not fair to you. It's not fair to you and it's not your fault. But don't make that everybody else's problem because that's not our fault either. So yes, like I said, I don't hate men because I had a really good dad. And I know the Most High didn't stop making good fathers when he made mine. I know he didn't stop making good men when he made my father. And I should be able to say that and nobody should have anything to say about it.
Yeah, when women make videos about how good their mothers are, men don't flood the comments and be like, "Well, what about your dad? What about your dad?" When you make a post saying that younger women are more attracted to men than older women, all these old married mothers start flooding the comments talking about, "Well, I'm 57 and men still look at me. Well, I'm 41 with 2 kids and I still got it." But when you make a post saying women don't like broke men, niggas don't start flooding the comments and being like, "Well, I'm broke and I'm still out here moving like Dan Bilzerian." Like you just don't see it.
When a man earns money, he dreams of giving his wife the best. But when a woman earns money, she feels like she doesn't need a man. Okay, is the matter clear?
Men will destroy their happiness for their family. Women will destroy their family for their happiness.
We're very used to hearing about young men's negative views of young women, but this really struck me because we found that, 72% of young men have a favourable view of young women, 7%, and not very many really, have an unfavourable view of young women. When it comes to women under 30, though, only 50% have a favourable view. The unfavourable view of men goes up to 21%. And then under 25 women, it's just 35% of young women who have a favourable view of men. And if you go into very favourable, it's just 11% of under 25 women. So we are looking at an environment where young women feel a lot more negatively towards young men than the other way around.
In reality, y'all just be fighting yourselves because we don't really give a fuck. Real slayers know that you can still get the women that don't like men, that claim they don't like men. They sure love them in bed though.
Women have lost their femininity and have become more entitled in relationships because of the way femininity was introduced and modeled to them from the women in their lives. So, like most people, I grew up with two grandmothers, and they had two very different approaches to household chores like cooking and cleaning. Love them both equally. However, one of my grandmothers would prop me up on a chair so that I could reach the sink because she was teaching me how to clean at 7 years old, because she would tell me literally, no man is going to want to marry you if you don't know how to cook and clean. Guess what that did? It made me pretty fucking rebellious and resentful, where I started to associate the kitchen with oppression. And I told myself, well, if that's what marriage is, then I don't want to get married. And that was the attitude that I had for a very long time. And it affected me in my relationships because I didn't want to show up for a man in certain ways. Now, my second grandmother, very different vibe. I remember we went hiking as a family, and she was up at that time making sure we had something to eat, we had our energy. And the moment we walked out of the door to go hiking, she was going to the store. She was getting the meat. She was preparing her feast that she had waiting for us when we walked through the door. And you could smell the aroma of the spices. And she's like, hey guys, like, how was it? And she was so warm and lighthearted. She didn't have this attitude because she was doing her duty. She's like, oh yeah, here's the food. Like, she didn't have that attitude. And we would have been fine if she didn't cook anything. But the experience of feeling her warmth, and like, for her, she was just giving. She didn't let me touch a fucking dish. She said, no, don't you touch that. She literally got mad. Don't touch a fucking dish. I'm going to take care of you. Like, I really cannot describe to you that experience. It was so much better than eating at like a 5-star restaurant. And it inspired me and like expanded my heart, where I was genuinely excited to do the same thing for my kids and my husband, where I said, oh my God, I want to provide this for my family. This is so amazing. Like, this is what life is about. And so what's interesting is that she had the effect that my first grandma was trying to get. However, she tried to do it through control and obligation versus just inspiration, just modeling it. And so many women have the same approach with their husbands, where you're basically saying, this is your duty, as you should. You're the man. You should be doing these things. And then you wonder why you're so unhappy in your marriage and why they're not showing up for you. No one wants to show up for women like that, and men for that matter. But in this instance, like, if I didn't want to do it, why the fuck would I expect a man to want to show up for me when I'm acting entitled?
Yeah, and here's a dime piece for the 0% of women who are watching this video. Take pride in your duties. So many of y'all are just so head set on trying to be like a man, and it makes you feel like your role is significantly less important than our role, which is simply not true. We leave work ready to come home to you, to your energy. When you do your role exceptionally and pridefully, 1, it makes us more attracted to you and want to do more for you. And 2, it makes your role more enjoyable for you. That warmth and that lightheartedness is the energy that we need after being out there in the cold fighting demons all day. You're also in control of the peace in the household. The more peace you provide for your man, the better your life is going to be.
Things I had to change in order to let my boyfriend lead as someone who grew up very independent. I was literally raised to be an independent woman. First things first, you don't need to question everything in the moment. My first response to everything would be, why? Who said? That doesn't make sense. Explain it. Just like that too, with an attitude every time. Sometimes, especially if you know you got a good man, you just listen and ask questions later. Just do it. Next one, I had to stop being so aggressive with everything I said. You'll be amazed at what softening your voice when you're talking to your boyfriend will do. Instead of, why am I doing that? Now I would say, what? I don't understand. Or, wait, I don't get it. Can you help me understand that? It completely changes the way that they respond to you and everything. Just trust me. Next thing, stop thinking you know everything. You don't. Especially if you're someone who thinks you're pretty smart and you know that most of the time you're right. That doesn't mean you're always right, and that doesn't mean he's wrong. I'm definitely a know-it-all, so it was really hard for me to accept that maybe I can be wrong, especially when it came to my boyfriend. I don't know why. But now if I think he's wrong, I'm just like, okay, let's see how this plays out. Last but not least, do not disrespect him and calling him less of a man or telling him to man up. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. There's nothing a man hates more than a woman telling him how to be a man. I do this all the time online to mess with the internet trolls, but in real life, I'm not lecturing him on what a man is. That's not my job. Do I want to be a man? Heck no. Let me pipe back. We got to stop putting ourselves in a masculine position and wondering why we act masculine and we're having conflicts with our man.